Hola, Justin Trudeau. It's your old amigo, Pierre Poilievre, coming to you from rural Manitoba with a few quick questions that you can answer for me while you relax, reclined on the beach, drinking a cerveza in between trips out on the surfboard. Before I get on with it, though, can I just take off this mask? I don't mean to be too forward. It's just I noticed you weren't wearing a mask when you were getting off your private jet, even though you're requiring everyone else to wear one on a plane. Some might call that unmasked hypocrisy, but I wouldn't say such an unkind thing when you're just trying to relax. In fact, I don't have a problem with you taking a vacation. I hope you and your family are well. I just wanted to find out what your vacation means for everyone else. I'm thinking about how you got to Costa Rica and how you're getting back and what it means in the lives of ordinary people. Let's start with what powered your jet. I presume you used jet fuel. There are no electric planes that can take you those long distances, Justin. I presume you didn't get there by bicycle. In fact, you used a lot of fuel, according to the National Post. In every one but 11 of the last days, you were actually flying somewhere doing photo ops. In fact, you burned more fuel last month than an entire trucker convoy would have burned if it had driven from Regina to the nation's capital. So suddenly you seem to be in favor of the very fossil fuels you say you wanted to phase out. You said you wanted to phase out the energy sector. You know, that's the sector with the single biggest net exports in Canada, among the highest environmental standards anywhere in the world. By phasing out that sector, you empowered Vladimir Putin by giving him and other dictators greater control over the global energy market. You have said that you want to raise taxes on working class Canadians when they use energy. The carbon tax that's already in place and has helped brought about record gas prices, you say you want to raise that another 200%. Have you perhaps reconsidered that kind of approach? You're able to use fossil fuels, but of course you want to make it more expensive for people in small towns across Canada just to drive to work. I think of the Timmins miner who could not afford to gas up his truck with $2.50 a liter diesel to go and see his dying parents one last time in Thunder Bay, in part because of the taxes and energy policy you have imposed on his fuel. I think of the single mom who's putting water in her children's milk because she can no longer afford groceries with the price of everything, including gas and all that fossil fuels ship to the storefront. I think of the countless people who have fallen into poverty over the last year and don't know how they're going to get out. If you're able to use energy, are they able to use energy? I think also of our farmers. You have said you want to cut back their fertilizer by 30%. Justin, they have already cut their fertilizer because they don't like spending any more money on it than they have to. But if you force them to cut it more, they will have to cut the amount of food they grow on each acre of land, which means they will have to travel longer distances in their combines and tractors, burning more fuel and raising the price of food for the aforementioned impoverished Canadians. I know you're thinking we'll just bring in more food from abroad so that we're more dependent on other countries. Didn't you learn during the pandemic that being too dependent on foreign economies to supply us with the essentials of life is reckless? I'm sure you did, and I'm sure you're reflecting on that right now as you sit on the beach. But beyond how you physically got to Costa Rica, how did you legally get there? You need a passport to travel, Justin. And of course, that means waiting in line. At which of your many passport offices, the ones for which you are responsible, which your government runs and owns, did you stand in line to wait to get your passport? I'm curious, because many Canadians are spending their vacation pitching a tent in a parking lot at a government passport office, waiting and waiting and waiting. So please just let me know which passport office you went to. And I'm also curious how you're going to get back to Canada. Are you going to download the ArriveCan app? You know, that glitchy monstrosity on which you spent $25 million? You know, you told us you were just bringing it in for COVID to help track all the disease that might come into the country, but for the fact that there was an app to keep it out. Well, now that COVID is subsiding, you say that that app has to stay permanently. So was it really about COVID, or was there some other agenda? And are you downloading the app, or is that just something that the common people must do again? And speaking of coming back, you have to cross the border. Have you thought about the many thousands of people you have banned from crossing the border simply because of a medical decision? You thought of the truckers? Yes, the truckers, Justin. I know how much you don't like truckers. The truckers, who you called heroes when they were taking our goods and services across the border without a vaccine for 2 long years. Then suddenly you claimed that these same truckers, the guy who sits all by himself in a truck all day, was likely to cause a viral spread. Justin, why don't you let the truckers do their jobs and deliver the goods? They want to cross the border just like you. Only difference is it's not to go on a vacation, it's to provide us with the essentials of life. I'm sorry to trouble you with all of these pesky questions while you're trying to relax. Everybody's entitled to a vacation. I'm just asking that you maybe think about the people that are paying your bills, the people who are struggling. There are people in this country, Prime Minister, who are hanging on by a thread. I know it's easy to forget them when you're on the beach watching the sunset in Costa Rica. I know that it's easy to forget that these people are in fact your bosses and that you work for them. But think about them just for a few minutes. Maybe even send a postcard to tell us all how you're doing. Don't be in a rush to get back. But if you do come back, be ready, because you will find a very impatient nation of people who also need a vacation from you. These people are ready to take back control of their lives because they have seen the real Justin Trudeau, the one without the mask. Hasta la vista.